I never thought I'd be the kind of guy to catch his wife cheating, but here I am trying to make sense of it all. My name's Mike, and I've been married to Lisa for almost 8 years now. We had a pretty normal life, boring, I guess, but stable. She was always a bit of a bitch, honestly. Always snapping, quick to lie, and pretty damn manipulative when she didn't get her way. Still, I loved her, or at least I thought I did. Our relationship wasn't perfect, but I never suspected anything was seriously wrong until about 3 months ago. It started with small signs. She'd be unusually secretive with her phone, taking calls in the bathroom, deleting messages, or rushing to hide her screen when I entered the room. I didn't think much of it at the time. I figured she was just being paranoid or maybe working late, even though she'd always been pretty upfront about her schedule. But then I noticed she was leaving her phone around less and less, and whenever she was on her computer, she'd close tabs quickly if I walked by. That kind of thing. I remember catching her in a lie once. She said she was at her sister. Then I saw her text with some guy named Jake that day, talking about some secret project they were working on together. I didn't confront her immediately. I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but that little seed of suspicion grew. Then came the day I decided to check her phone when she went out with her friends. I've never done that before, but I just had this gut feeling. I found a lot of messages, nothing too explicit at first, just flirtatious stuff, mostly her talking about some guy she met at her medieval festival a couple weekends ago. She went there with her friends, and I didn't think much about it at the time. I knew she liked those medieval reenactments and the whole castle and knights thing. Honestly, I even went with her once just to be supportive. But here, where it gets weird, I saw her talking about the falconer, a guy she called Dan. She kept mentioning bird-watching opportunities and how they exchanged contacts behind the jousting arena. She told her friends she was just taking photos for her Instagram, but her messages with Dan didn't sound like that at all. They sounded more intimate. She kept calling him Dan and he'd call her L, always joking about how they should meet up again for more bird watching. I could feel my stomach turn when I read how they had arranged to meet behind the arena at night under the guise of bird watching, but clearly for something else. I remember staring at the screen in disbelief. My mind raced. How could she lie so easily? How long has this been going on? And why? She's always been bitchy, manipulative, but I never thought she'd cheat on me with some guy she met at a medieval festival. I mean, really. It's almost laughable if it wasn't so fucking painful. I felt a mix of anger, betrayal, and a kind of numbness. Like I'd been punched in the gut and everything was slowly sinking in. The worst part is, I had no idea how long she'd been doing this. Weeks. Months. All I know is that I never saw it coming. After I found that mess of messages, everything changed. I stayed awake all night, staring at the screen, trying to process how my wife, the woman I trusted, could be cheating behind my back. I felt like I was losing my mind. The thought that she had been lying to me for so long, hiding something so obvious, made my blood boil. I kept asking myself, how could I have been so blind? Was I not paying attention? Was I just too blind to see the signs? The next day, I decided I had to confront her. I wasn't going to let this go. I waited until she got home from work, my heart pounding in my chest. When she walked through the door, I could see the smug little smirk on her face, like she already knew she'd gotten away with something, or maybe like she was already planning her next lie. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself, and then I just laid it out there. "You've been cheating, haven't you?" I said, my voice tight and cold. She looked at me for a second, then scoffed. "Oh, please, Mike, you're overreacting. It's just some stupid festival. I was talking to a guy about bird watching, that's all. You're blowing this out of proportion." Her tone was bitchy, dismissive, like I was the one being unreasonable. I pressed her further, showing her the messages I found. Her eyes flickered, and then she started lying again. "No, you don't understand. That was just a joke," she said, rolling her eyes. "Dan's just a guy I met briefly. We've only exchanged a few messages. It's nothing serious, I swear. You're just paranoid because you don't trust me." That's her favorite line: blame me for being paranoid. Accuse me of not trusting her, as if I'd gone completely crazy. But I knew better. I could see the lies in her eyes, the way she avoided my gaze, and I could feel myself boiling over. I told her I was done with her bullshit. I told her I saw through her lies, that I knew she'd been sneaking around with Dan, the falconer, behind my back. Her response: she got bitchy real quick, throwing up her hands and saying I was overreacting, that I was jealous and insecure. She even had the nerve to say that I was losing it because I couldn't handle her having fun or talking to some guy at a festival. That was her way of turning it around, making me out to be the crazy one. But I wasn't buying it anymore. The trust was shattered. That moment, standing there in our kitchen, I felt like a fool. All those years I trusted her, gave her the benefit of the doubt, and it was all a lie. She was out there meeting some guy behind the arena, exchanging contacts for bird-watching opportunities, and lying to my face about it. I could feel my fists clenching, my heart pounding. I didn't know what to do next. A part of me just wanted to scream. The other part wanted to throw her out of the house right then and there. That's when I realized that my entire relationship, the life I thought we had, was built on something fragile. And now, I was the one holding the broken pieces. The days that followed that confrontation were some of the worst I've ever experienced. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and every time I closed my eyes, I saw her lying there, smirking like I was the crazy one. I kept replaying everything she said, her sneaky little excuses, her bitchy tone when she dismissed my concerns. It was like I'd been hit with a sledgehammer, and everything I believed about her, about us, was crumbling in my hands. I felt a mix of anger, sadness, and a deep sense of betrayal that was hard to put into words. I started to pay more attention to her behavior, how she was acting around me, what she was hiding, the little things that didn't add up anymore. She became more defensive, more bitchy, snapping at me over small stuff just to push me away. I noticed her cleaning her phone obsessively, hiding it when I entered the room, and I caught her deleting some messages right in front of me. That was the moment I knew I had to do something more than just confront her. I needed to catch her red-handed, or at least gather enough evidence to make her realize I wasn't stupid. So, I started thinking about how I could get proof without her knowing. I remembered hearing about some drone footage from the medieval festival, footage I had recorded myself during the event. I had a drone that I sometimes used to capture aerial shots of our neighborhood or the festival. I thought maybe I could check the footage, see if there was anything unusual around the time she was supposedly bird watching behind the arena. It was a long shot, but I had to try. I set up my drone one evening, hoping to get a clear shot of the area where she and Dan supposedly met. The footage was revealing. I played it back and saw her walking behind the jousting arena, just like she said, but then I saw something else, a figure in the shadows, standing still, waiting. It was her, or at least I thought it was. And then I saw him, Dan, the falconer. They were meeting behind the arena, talking close, exchanging something. The way they moved, the way they looked at each other. It was obvious they knew each other well, maybe more than just some festival acquaintances. I couldn't believe my eyes. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach all over again, but this time with concrete proof. I was furious, but I also felt a strange sense of clarity. I had what I needed now. I'd seen enough to know that this wasn't a one-time thing. It was real, it was happening, and I couldn't pretend anymore. I stayed up late that night, staring at that footage over and over, feeling betrayed, crushed, and somehow more determined than ever to handle this the right way. I knew I couldn't just blow up at her, not yet. I had to plan how I was going to do this, what I was going to say, how to make her face the reality of what she'd done. Because she wasn't just some bitchy wife lying about her whereabouts, she was cheating, and there was no way I was going to let her walk away without consequences. The next morning, I woke up with a storm inside me. I knew I had to confront her again, but this time I was going in with everything I had: evidence, anger, and a clear plan. I didn't want to just yell and accuse. I wanted her to see that I knew every lie, every sneaky moment she'd thought she could hide from me. I also knew I had to be careful because Lisa was the kind of woman who could turn things around on me, twist the situation, and make me look like the bad guy. I waited until she was back from work, pretending everything was normal while inside I was a mess. When she came through the door, I kept my cool, but I could feel my jaw tighten. I just pointed the laptop at her, clicked play on the footage I had saved. "Tell me what this is," I said quietly but with enough edge to cut through her bullshit. Her face froze. Her eyes widened for a split second, then she started to sputter. "Oh, come on, Mike. That's just some stupid thing you're making up," she said, trying to brush it off. But I cut her off. "No, Lisa, this is you behind the arena meeting Dan. I saw the footage. I saw you two talking, exchanging who knows what behind my back. How long has this been going on? Weeks? Months?" My voice was trembling with anger, but I kept it steady. I wanted her to see I wasn't just some cuckolded idiot. This was real, and I wasn't going to let her manipulate her way out of it. Her reaction. Oh, it was classic, bitchy, dismissive, full of lies. She rolled her eyes and said, "You're crazy. You're seeing things. Maybe your drone is faulty." She tried to deny everything, even claiming that the whole festival was a setup, that I was jealous and paranoid. She said she didn't even like Dan that much, that they just exchanged contacts for bird watching and photography. But I wasn't buying it anymore. Her lies were so obvious, her tone so desperate. I could feel the rage boiling up, but I also felt something else, deep disappointment. I just looked at her and realized that this woman I married, the woman I thought I knew, was a stranger now. She kept going on about how I was overreacting, how I was possessive, and how she's not some cheating bitch. I was done listening. I told her I wasn't interested in her excuses and that I'd already seen enough. I needed space to think, to decide what to do next. That was the moment I knew I couldn't stay with her anymore. The trust was broken beyond repair. I felt a strange mix of relief and heartbreak. I'd caught her, yes, but it didn't make me feel victorious. It just made me realize I'd been living a lie, and I had to face the uncomfortable truth that my marriage was over. From that point on, I knew I had to plan my exit carefully. I wasn't just going to pack my bags and leave. I wanted her to see that I knew everything, that I was finally awake to her bullshit. It was the beginning of my revenge, whether she liked it or not. After I confronted her with the footage, Lisa's bitchy facade cracked. She started to panic, her voice rising in that irritating tone that she always used when she was trying to manipulate or dismiss me. "You're crazy, Mike," she snapped. "You're just jealous because I was talking to someone who actually appreciates me. You're too insecure to handle my independence." She kept spinning her lies, trying to put it all on me, as if I was the one in the wrong for catching her. I knew better. I'd had enough of her bullshit. I told her she could spin her lies all she wanted, but I wasn't buying it anymore. I told her I knew about Dan, the falconer, the guy she met at that medieval festival, and how they'd been meeting behind the arena for weeks. Her eyes flared with anger, and she started a new round of insults, calling me controlling, paranoid, and unstable. I just sat there, quietly seething, feeling a deep sense of betrayal. This wasn't just about some insincere flirtation anymore. This was about her lying, sneaking around, and wasting years of my life. I knew I had to act fast. I couldn't stay living with someone who thought she could lie her way out of this. I decided to record everything from that moment forward, her bitchy outbursts, her desperate excuses, her denial, so I'd have proof if I ever needed to walk away for good. I also made sure to keep a copy of the drone footage, hidden on an external drive. I had a sinking feeling she would try to destroy or deny everything once she realized I wasn't backing down. As I packed a bag that night, I felt numb and angry all at once. I wasn't planning to leave immediately, but I knew I had to get out, at least temporarily. I didn't trust her not to escalate, and I didn't want to be around her any longer than I had. 2. I realized I had given so much to this relationship, my trust, my years, and she threw it all away for some stupid festival flirtation with a falconer. That realization hit me like a punch in the gut, but it also ignited a resolve to finally take control of my life. I wasn't going to be the fool anymore, and I wasn't going to let her lie her way out of what she'd done. Whatever came next, I knew I'd be better off without her bullshit. The day I finally decided to leave was a blur. I didn't make a big scene, not in the way she expected. I just packed my bag, took the evidence I had gathered, and left while she was out running errands. I didn't even say much. I knew I'd be better off without her bitchy attitude, her lies, her manipulations. As I closed the door behind me, I felt a strange mix of relief and emptiness. Part of me was glad the chaos was over. but another part was mourning what I thought we had, or what I thought I knew about her. In the weeks that followed, I found it hard to trust anyone again. The betrayal ran so deep that I questioned every little thing, every word, every glance, every social interaction. But I also started to rebuild. I went on my own, cut off contact with her entirely, and focused on getting my life back in order. I found myself feeling freer, more myself than I had in years. That woman, I realized, wasn't worth the heartbreak. She was just a bitchy liar with a penchant for sneaking behind my back for some stupid bird-watching affair with a falconer. Looking back, I learned a lot from this mess. First, trust is fragile and you can't ignore the signs. Second, even the bitchiest woman can lie so convincingly you start to doubt yourself. And third, sometimes, you have to catch her in the act to really believe it. The biggest lesson: never ignore your instincts and don't let someone manipulate you into staying in a relationship built on lies. For anyone going through something similar, trust your gut. If you notice inconsistencies, secretive behavior, or strange excuses, don't brush it off. Investigate, gather your evidence, and be prepared to face the truth. Because in the end, honesty is what matters, and if it's gone, there's no point pretending everything's fine. Trust me, living in the truth is way better than living in a lie. And I can finally say I'm better off without her.